Why should a seafarer go for MBA?
One of the first things I will advise that never do an MBA because someone else is doing it and he convinces you that you have to do it. That includes me.
Commercials pay much higher than the technical side of the shipping. Why so? So what is this Maestro program of Maersk? And this is very important for every Maersk person watching this video. So what is this? Hi everyone, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Mata. Today's video is very important on the podcast because I've got a very special guest, Captain Saunak, who is a well-known name in the maritime industry. Sir today heads a company called Fuel LNG in Singapore, and their job is to carry out LNG bunkering. Recently, they have made a record of carrying out 300 LNG bunkering in Singapore. Before that, Sir was the Vice President of LNG Business Development in Norgas. Before that, he was managing commercial operations in Maersk LNG. Before that, he was a marine superintendent in LNG and LPG vessels for Maersk. Right, sir?
Yes, sir.
And before that, he was a sailor who sailed on oil, gas, bulk, kerosene containers. A remarkable career, I would say, sir. So, welcome, sir, with folded hands to come to my podcast. Sir, thank you very much.
Thank you, Praneeth. Thank you. It's always a pleasure. And you bring a huge amount of energy in this podcast. So, very happy to be here. Thank you.
So, sir, to the listeners first, why this podcast is important to you? Many a times we feel कि यार when I was joining, sir, हमें पता था मैं सिर्फ captain बनना है. I want to become a captain. But a captain can do so many other things. Today he's heading a big company in Singapore and has made a name for himself. So this podcast is to inspire you that if Captain Saunak Rai can do it, you can as well. I know he's a genius. He won't admit it. He's a very humble man. But in this journey, you will know what his journey has been, why it is not less than inspiration, and what you can learn from it. Most importantly, immediately make your LinkedIn profile. Get out there on LinkedIn. Sir का LinkedIn profile डाला, please send a connection request as well. Because जब आप उनके post पढ़ेंगे, आप उससे बहुत कुछ सीखेंगे भी. So let's move ahead, sir. So let's start from the very beginning, sir. So the very beginning, we start with why Merchant Navy, then various companies. What brought that Maestro program which changed your life into management? Why did you get into commercial shipping? What all challenges you faced? You kept on switching on companies. Why? Today, and you love challenges. So this will be all about this. So can you start, sir?
Absolutely.
So, sir, let's get back from the very beginning, Dehradun. Why did you join Merchant Navy?
It's a very good question, Praneeth. So, if you think in our times, and I'm talking about the mid-90s, we only had two things to prepare. Either we would prepare for medical or we will be preparing for engineering. So, like all students in my class, I started a preparation for engineering entrance. I gave the IIT JEE exam. And during that time, we could also apply through the same IIT JEE entrance test, we could apply for a Merchant Navy, fill a form for TS Chanakya and DMET or MERI. So I did that and I got a very good rank in the IIT JEE exam. And this was one of the options which was available. And I got that interview letter, went to Mumbai. And they're very impressed by the career options available to people in Merchant Navy. Very impressed with their lifestyle. So I decided to take the plunge and joined Training Ship Chanakya.
Okay. Sir, just one step ahead. So you joined looking at the aura, because this is what I did when I went to LBS Mumbai for counseling and saw that dress and everything. But when you went on ship, the life was completely different. So did you regret at that time, यार मेरा तो IIT में जा सकता था, I could have gone to this engineering college and could have done well. Where am I stuck putting my hands in grease and doing this and that? Just asking.
Quite a contrary, actually. Quite the contrary. I would say, every person has its own acumen and all lines are good. Engineering is good. Marine engineering is good. Nautical side of Merchant Navy is good. When I went on the ship, yes, it is true that it was not as expected. It was much difficult. But again, I also went on ships where people were very friendly. They were teaching us very well. They were treating us very well. They were guiding us. And apart from the first time when I felt really seasick, and that was the time I really questioned my decision. Till today, I think that was one of the best decisions I have made in my life. But no regrets.
Because the only reason can be because you have made a very good career out of that. People like us get inspired and look up to it. But anyway, sir, why did you choose? मेरा दिल का question है, sir. Why did you choose deck side over engine side, or why did you choose TS Chanakya over DMET?
That's a very good question. So I did tell you that I was preparing to be an engineer. IIT gave to be an engineer. So when we went to LBS for the interview, we were like, we will go to Kolkata and join DMET. So before the interviews began, there was a presentation done by Captain Hari Subramaniam, who was heading LBS, and then there was a presentation done by the DMET's head. I don't remember his name right now. And Captain Subramaniam was so impressive. Captain Subramaniam had this zeal, that passion and that aura actually. So I was sitting with my father when he was presenting, and he looked at me and said, "Yeah, you need to be like him."
Oh, wow.
So I think a big part of me being on the nautical side comes from that one presentation of Captain Subramaniam.
So you owe your career to Captain Subramaniam, if I would say.
I would say not, but the inspiration, yes.
Yes. So Captain Hari Subramaniam, his son today, who is also in Singapore, I guess, working with P&I ownership.
He's a very close friend of mine.
मजे की बात sir, he was the one who recommended. I forgot sir. He only recommended when I went to Singapore कि तुम सोनक राय से मिलो, and that is how I got to meet you, and later on got to know that you're from Dehradun, and अब मैं आपको गन्ने का क्या करेले का जूस पिलाता हूँ गांधी पार्क में जब भी आप देहरादून आते हो.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you Captain Hari Subramaniam for making me meet this wonderful person to get inspired. So my next question to you is, like you joined TS Chanakya, and TS Chanakya and DMET, MERI Kolkata have got a very, very similar structure, like the way the organization works. Students have got the power, they become SCCs, they take care of the juniors, learn that leadership. What was that one amazing thing that you learned at TS Chanakya?
I would say independently working. Because, before when we are in school, we are always at home and, we are always protected by the family. But once you go to a hostel and you start studying in a hostel, you get to manage everything yourself, your finances, your things, yourself, your relationships, your networking. And that one exposure, which makes you an independent individual. I think that was one of the first and the best thing I learned in Chanakya, to be an individual, to manage things independently, to take care of yourself independently. And, in this whole big world where there will be new challenges, new problems, you learn that the most important thing you have is your team, your friend, your network, which makes you thrive independently in this world.
So, guys, I want to add just one point, and the learning is out here. Sometimes, sir, today we are running a coaching institute called GMD Academy. So many times students come and tell us कि sir हमें teacher ने ये नहीं बताया. Sir teacher, मैंने बोलता this is what I tell them, that when you go to college, teachers are going to teach and run away. They are going to go back home. It is your roommates, it is your floor mates, it is your classmate whom you have to go and find out the solution. That is how you become independent. So in college,
Absolutely. And the bonds you make there, and I'm pretty sure for you also, Praneeth, the bonds which you will make in your academy, whichever academy you study, they will become lifelong bonds. Those are the people you can depend upon. Today I have a batch of 80 people in. I can depend my life on these people. I can say that.
Same here, sir. 124, and I can vouch my life on these people. And यही एक group है, sir, where every single day my wife knows that something is happening. If I'm smiling, she knows that I'm on my batchmates group. किसी की टांग खींची जा रही है, and that bond has still stayed, sir. Every year we meet up, sir. Every year we try to catch up each other. Last year 64 of us met, and that bond has stayed. So when you struggle together, when you learn to know from each other कि यार ये चीज़ कर लेते हैं, अभी नंबर लाने हैं, पढ़ाई करनी है. So that is the bond that stays. And sir, independence means this.
Absolutely.
Trying to figure out the solution yourself.
Yeah. That protective shell of your home, that protective shell of your parents, which is needed, very important. When you come out of it in the real world, you make real world friendships, you make real world networks. And then as an independent person, you start caring for yourself.
Great. Thank you.
I think that is one huge step outside your comfort zone. And that, makes you stand in the world.
Sir, were you a leader in college TS Chanakya? Were you a cadet captain or SCC?
I was.
You were.
Guilty as charged, yes.
So you were. So what did that leadership teach you? Because sir, I never became, मेरे batchmates मेरी टांग खींचते हैं कि प्रणीत का हमेशा सपना था कि एससीसी बनना चाहता है, दो इट वाज नॉट. मेरा एक छोटा मोटा सपना था कि हाँ मैं मेस मेंबर जरूर बनना चाहता था एक बार को, फाइनल ईयर में वो भी, क्योंकि एक पावर अलग तरह की रहती है, बट नेवर एससीसी बिकॉज आई थॉट आई एम नॉट दैट मटेरियल. बट यू वर देयर. व्हाट डिड दैट लीडरशिप टीच यू? व्हाई आई एम आस्किंग दिस क्वेश्चन इज सर बिकॉज डीएमईटी, टीएस चाणक्य हैव गॉट दैट ऑरा, दैट एससीसीज, सीसीज, दे हैड दैट पावर, नॉट द वार्डन्स. And even abhi I was talking to Captain Chief here Brajendra Saxena sir, who was leading Tolani Maritime Institute, and he was a part of, he studied MERI Kolkata, DMET, and he also said that it shaped him into the person that he became, that leadership. What did you learn during your course as a SCC captain, cadet captain?
So yeah, as I was saying, I was a cadet captain and went on to become a senior cadet captain. And so the way the structure works, that 1 week in a month you are chief cadet captain or CCC, and then you are managing the whole institute. One thing you learn, the first thing is responsibility. That how you are now responsible once the college is finishing in the evening till the next day morning. Apart from the officer on duty, you are the person responsible for 300 to 500 odd cadets who are there. You cannot take sides. You have to be unbiased. You have to be yourself a role model, because if you are breaking the rules, you cannot make other people follow the rules.
Agreed.
So responsibility, leadership by example, and also diligence. So these are the three things you learn when you are a senior cadet captain, and when you are managing that. And I think it brings in a character, because how do you manage for people? It's very easy for juniors to listen to you. You have a hierarchical command. You can push them and they are scared of you.
First year, second years, go do this.
That is not a problem. Yeah, with a sufficient level of authority, you can manage that. How do you manage your batchmates, your best friends, your roommates to follow the rule? And there lies, a different kind of a leadership is needed at that time to manage that.
And what is that leadership called?
I would. So there are different modes of leadership. This is something called a situational leadership, where you become flexible and you understand where everything you cannot get by just forcing people to do things. You have to modify your style to influence people, to make them do things who are not directly or hierarchically, under you. And again, this is a very good learning for life.
Life, sir. Guys, to all those people who are studying in maritime colleges right now, if you're getting an opportunity to become a leader, go do that. Because I'm telling you one thing, even though sir was very good in studies, but what must have taken him to heading a company like Fuel LNG today is not just studies. It was that leadership that instilled in him that time.
Absolutely.
To manage his peers, his seniors, sir, also your seniors,
Yes,
your director, he must be talking to you, what is happening, what is going on, and your juniors.
Absolutely.
So it's one thing that you ought to learn. So moving to the next question, sir, great learnings. So sir, we both have one thing in common, and we have two things in common, only two things in common. That is, we both are from Dehradun, and the other is, we both started our career from same company called Searland. Now, most of the questions that people ask, sir, like I joined Searland, मेरे पास और कोई ऑप्शन नहीं था. I'll be very honest, I'll tell you, because that was the only company that where a captain used to come to take interview, and I was very bad with my technical knowledge. I knew बाकी किसी जगह को मेरा होगा नहीं. तो Captain Jairam came for interview, and it was non-technical interview, and I was good at non-technical thanks to my schooling at Dehradun St. Joseph's Academy. But अगर technical होता सर, I was misfit for any company. कोई भी आती मुझे fail कर देती, because मैंने कुछ पढ़ा ही नहीं था. But on the other hand, there was one thing, that Searland was the highest paying company. At that time, junior officers used to get paid $1,300 or $1,150. Am I right? Am I mistaken?
We were paying a little less, but I am before your time. So
much before my time. But it was one of the highest paying companies.
Yes, that is correct.
So, sir, the question lies is, you got selected in Searland. What was your decision to choose Searland over other companies? आपका reason क्या था?
Okay, I will give you my reason, which may not be the best reason in the world,
Right.
but that was my reason. So, Searland, when it used to come to training ship Chanakya, and they would start by only interviewing the top 15.
Always. So
they were always, only their selection, first criteria for interview was have to be top 15. And Captain Jairam, who I revere, is a very, very senior person, very respected person, and I owe the start of my career to him.
I will send this video to him as well.
Please do. Yeah, very respected. Everyone in Searland is highly respected. He had a panache for picking up people, talented people. So, contrary to you, he was a captain. So, for us, he did ask very difficult technical questions. But he also presented the company in a manner which sounded like, yes, this is the place. So, my decision, because, all the troppers were thriving to be in this company. So, there was a competition, and I was one of the top people in our batch. Second, and very important, was that, and this is childish, but it's true, that our third year batch, the 6 people got selected in Searland, and they threw the mother of all parties in Chanakya. And you could see their joy in getting selected in Searland. So that put a very initial impression that, yeah, this is the place to go. Later, when I did sail with Searland, I did find that because they had that habit of taking a lot of people from our academy, not only from Chanakya, but from DMET and Mary also. So the atmosphere on the ship was very good, very learning atmosphere. They would, of course, make you work very hard. I remember one of my seniors, we used to work 18 hours every day and throughout the contract. But they also would teach you and you learn from them. They were real mentors. So again, the decision was probably not for the right reasons. Of course, for the highest paying company, for the company which takes toppers, and for our seniors who threw the best party. That were the points where. But later on, the decision was turned out to be good. They had new ships coming, and they had a lot of people. The advice which I would like to give everyone when they're going for campus interviews is that don't follow me. Don't only look at the salary, look at the company profile, look at what kind of shifts that have, what kind of feedback you're getting from your seniors for that particular company. Whether it's a management company, an ownership company, that really matters. So those all things, do a better research than me, then select a company.
Great. Because even during our time, sir, I would just like to tell you, all those people, those who are going for these maritime college interviews and placements, there will be companies which are very, very good, matlab reputed names in the industry, but they have got very slow promotions. एक वो कंपनीज होगी, एक कंपनीज होगी जहाँ पर सैलरीज आर वेरी हाई. So you try to join there. Like जहाँ पर सैलरी है करके बोलेगा यार यहाँ पर सैलरी है, but just during the first contract में junior engineer. But what is the salary during fourth engineer, third engineer? How slow are the promotions? So these are the few things that you have to look into, and that is why these podcasts are important. But one learning lesson that I want to give you, apart from what Saunak Rai sir gave, is he told very clearly, and this is a message to all chief officers and captains and second engineers, chief engineers, that I used to work with one of the chief officers for 18 hours every single day, but he was a mentor to me. Why? Because he was teaching me. So make a training your big part of your life. कभी भी no junior engineer, no cadet will face कि my chief officer of second year is harassing me, because there is a difference in training and harassing. So there is a very thin line in between. So working 18 hours a day can be harassment and can be training. Depends on who is it doing and how. Am I right, sir?
Absolutely. I mean, again, as I said, when you are joining as a cadet or as a junior officer, your focus is on learning. And one of the worst things someone can do to you is give you a leisure life. Say that whenever you want to come on watch, you just stay in your cabin. You may think, oh my God, this was the best cadetship ever. But once you finish that cadetship and become an officer, you will realize that that was the worst somebody could have done with you. So, yeah, I think mentoring the next generation, teaching them, extremely important. And one thing which I did not add, I'm sorry, should have been the first thing I should have added. When you are selecting a company, also look at their safety record. It's very important that how they take safety, and do they take safety as a core value and they manage it. It's very important. Because as a cadet, your safety is paramount. And all the officers, all the seniors on board should have that as their focus.
Great. Sir, point very well noted, and it is coming as a point in front of you as a learning point as well. So my next question to you is, so Searland became like a family, a small company, ownership company. You knew your seniors, you knew your juniors then, and you learnt a lot out there as well. Why did you switch over to Maersk as an officer?
It was not an easy decision, I can very clearly say. So I was preparing for my mates and masters in Mumbai, and Maersk had a huge recruitment campaign in just opposite Siemens Club where we were staying. And I'd cleared my exams and I was just staying there for some courses, and everyone in Siemens Club was going for that exams, that entrance of Maersk. So I decided, okay, well, nothing else to do, everyone is there, I will be alone, and so let me join them. So I went there, and that was one of the first times Maersk Denmark was trying to take officers in between. Otherwise, they always have their very strong training program. So it was a very tough exam, various levels, and I think when we started, there were probably 2,000-3,000 people, and slowly they kept on, every 2 hours they will say, okay, these guys can go, you guys can go. So it was like kind of, really they made it very difficult for us. And in the end, they actually selected, I think, 10 or 15 people.
Out of 2,000?
Out of 2,000. So that sense of achievement was there. And also, during the interview, I still remember, one of the officers in the Maersk office, actually he said that if you're thinking of making a career out of sea and coming ashore and working ashore, Musk is one of the best companies to be. And that's something got stuck in my mind that, eventually if you're going to come ashore, that may be a good option. Still, it was a very difficult decision because I said Searland was the company I started with. They were very friendly. They were all good people in office and all the ships. They had good ships. And Musk was a very new company. I hardly knew anyone in Musk. Few cadets who had joined Musk in our batch, but not too many. And I was going to join the Danish ship, so the food, everything was going to be very different. And I was in a dilemma for a very long time. I would say a week almost to which option to take. And that is the time I read a book. And since then, every time I have at least a decision dilemma, I read that book. And I recommend everyone to look into that book if you are going to make a big decision in your life. It's a book called Alchemist. And The Alchemist is written by Mr. Paul Coelho. Very thin book, so not a very difficult book to read, but very recommend because that book has this. I'm not going to divulge details, but there's a shepherd who has a very good life, very comfortable life, and then he gets an option to chase a dream, to go to an unknown, and then he makes a decision. And what happens to him when he makes the decision? And it gives you a lot of clarity when you are in that point of your life and you have to make a difficult decision. So I made the decision. I went to Musk, and I think that was one of the huge decisions which I made, which came right.
Okay. I will, sorry, cut you because then the next question won't come because I know you'll divulge the answers. Sir, so out here, you were sailing with a company called Searland, ownership company, a small company where you were in a comfort zone, all Indian crew. From there, you got that sense of achievement. You got into Musk, a big company, into the Danish fleet, mixed crew. Food was bhul jaiye Indian, a continental food, mixed food, right? Spaghetti and everything. So was it the only food, or what all challenges or what all changes you found in the culture of working with Searland and Musk?
So again, I think the culture part is very, very different. I mean, there's nothing right or wrong. Searland culture comes from the British hierarchical culture. And again, as I said, since there were so many people from alumni, it was a very learning culture, a culture where you really thrive and learn. But you also have this sense of respect because all your seniors are there and you respect them and they take you and they teach you. When you went to Musk, it's a very different world out there. I remember the first time when I went on board a Musk ship and I gave my papers to the captain. And he asked a question. I said, this is sir. He suddenly looked at me and said, sir, is Mr. McKinney-Moller on this ship? I said, no, sir, I was asking you. He said, my name is Christian. Call me Christian. And that first impression when you go on a ship and, the captain asks you to call by his first name. And from there, you come and glimpse at a culture which is not hierarchical at all. It's a very flat culture, very open culture, very independent culture, a very challenging culture. You learn a lot. You become a better version of yourself. And again, as I would say, it opens up for your... I always call myself as a student of leadership. And I think I learned a lot from that big change I had.
Okay. Sir, if I would sum it up this way, I have never worked in such an open culture. I'm a fan of hierarchical culture. I love calling people sir. And I love people calling me as sir as well. Matlab, I would really be uncomfortable as a chief engineer if somebody calls me even chief. Ya to bada saab bolo yaar. This is me, sir. Again, you are what you are because of the experiences that you have got. There is no right and wrong. So, right now, the culture that you have worked with, maybe everybody would love to call you Saunak. And you would call people above Christian and
absolutely.
Adam or something, right, sir?
So now, you can also call me Saunak.
Yeah,
absolutely.
sir, मैं तो Saunak रहे सरी बोलूँगा, Saunak सरी बोलूँगा. Sir, now, my question is, there are two different kinds of leadership out here. One is hierarchical leadership, and other is what I would call is as an open leadership or what to put it is. So, hands-on leadership. So, Musk is more of a hands-on. See, over there, you don't have an electrical officer. I would damn ever as a chief, you have to sail on a ship where you don't have an electrical officer. Sir, मैं नहीं कर सकता हूँ. Now, today people are sailing without electrical officer. I know chief is sailing, but I would never dare to do it. But again, I have never done that. Now, वहाँ पर the independence is such that I have heard, sir, you will tell me that true, right or wrong, that अगर if the bulb is gone switch, chief engineer के room में bulb, if the bulb is not lighting, he will go himself, take out a tube light and go and fix it himself.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right, sir? If there is a problem with the navigation light, जिसकी watch was chief officer's watch, it has happened. Chief officer will go and switch the take care of the navigation light. Am I right, sir?
Yes, that is true. So again, that is what exactly I was saying when I said there is no hierarchy. Your job you have to do. So if you go, I mean, this was something I saw later on. Big problem with Indians, that you go in the galley, you eat some food, you have to wash your plate and put it in the dishwasher. There's no
Wash and
put it in the dishwasher.
Okay.
You know? So again, the clear thing is that that culture has its advantages. If you look at this is a very famous case which happened when an airplane, a KLM airplane, crashed in Las Palmas. And you can look it up. It's a very interesting incident. It is often quoted as an example for power distance. So what happens is that when this plane crashed, the first thing the KLM CEO said is that can you please call this captain and ask him that we have a crash, can he go there and help? And the secretary to the CEO, whoever he was asking, said, sir, that was the captain who was flying the plane. So he was one of the senior most experienced, one of the best captains of KLM. And what happened there was that there was a miscommunication between the first officer on the plane and this captain. And the power distance was so large that the first officer knew that the pilot is doing wrong.
But he never dared.
But he could not dare to challenge him, and that plane crashed. So that is where hands-on leadership and non-hierarchical leadership works, where everybody is empowered to actually question the captain.
But sir, it has got its own merits and demerits.
It has.
Let us.
I agree with you. So again, I'll give you a situation. So most situations, this is good. Why? Because say you're a captain and you're trying to do something, and once in a lifetime you do something which was wrong, and nobody corrected you. Imagine the circumstances. Imagine what can happen. And then you look into a circumstances where someone corrected you. Said, oh, let me check this, and then you saved the incident. So I think that kind of leadership, the way the Danes do or the Scandinavians do, I think it's quite useful. There are times where it doesn't work. I'll give you an example. So I was in the forward stations, and we were departing. Somewhere in Korea or somewhere, and suddenly there was a blackout on the ship. So I was on the forward station, and the captain called me and said, Saunak, we have a blackout. You have to let go anchor. I said, okay. I started preparing. And there was a Danish cadet. And he immediately said, Saunak, this is wrong. I could see that we are still underway. You should not let go anchor. This is absolutely wrong. So he challenged, which was right, because that is the way he has been taught, to challenge the decision of seniors. Now, in an emergency, a hierarchical leadership situation works very well. The command and control system works very well. So unfortunately, at that time, I have to tell him, I'm overriding you. Please set aside. Move out, because of course there's a danger when you're letting go anchor. So move to the safe side. I will answer you later. And he was very protesting. Stop him. Let go anchor. We stopped. Nothing happened. We managed the situation. So in an emergency, in a situation where immediate actions are to be taken, the hierarchical system works better. Because you do not lose crucial time in discussing and that all. And there, the value of experience, the value of knowledge over a period of time, value of person who has seen a lot of incidents, that helps. In other times, so again, I always say that, and this is a debate I discuss with you sometimes, Pranit. Leadership is not one style fits all. Leadership is always situational leadership. At some time, a hierarchical leadership will work. An autocratic leadership will work. At some time, having a discussive, having a democratic leadership will work. And a leader has to have the ability to switch. Whether you're a leader of a department on the ship, whether you're a leader of cadets as a senior cadet captain, or whether you're a leader of a ship as a captain or a chief engineer, or whether you're a leader ashore. You always should develop situational leadership. You should be able to change your leadership style.
So if I'm not mistaken, sir, situational leadership is that where you are very much sure that this is the thing, it has to be done, or it's an emergency, we cannot discuss, make it autocratic like army style. This has to be done like this, just go ahead. Second comes is सिचुएशनल लीडरशिप और डेमोक्रेटिक लीडरशिप, जहाँ पर सिर्फ डिस्कशंस होते हैं. अच्छा, लेट अस टेक वोट. अच्छा, खाना क्या खाएंगे, से व्हाट शुड बी द मेन्यू, लेट अस टेक वोट्स. चलो जी वोट किए, मैक्सिमम दिस, ओके विल मेक दिस टाइम. देन वन इज सिचुएशनल लीडरशिप, जहाँ पर समटाइम्स यू हैव टू टेक आउट इनपुट फ्रॉम योर पीपल and then discuss it amongst yourself or with your higher management and make sure then that is followed, something like this. Am I right, sir?
So there are, if you go to the management theory, there are many more different styles of leadership, not two, but many. What I can recommend from my experience is that a leader has to be flexible. First, he has to have a knowledge of all these leaderships and which one can work where. There is one inherent style which is your own, which will always you fall as a default. And you have to train yourself to still be flexible and use different.
Great. Sir, now let's come to the next part. Because we are talking about leadership, you have already joined Maersk. Let's talk about a program which is called Maestro program. So I remember I was not a big fan of Maersk till then. Now guys, please, while watching this program, do not think that we are promoting Maersk out here, because I'll be getting many more leaders out there from different companies. But sir has been sailing with Maersk, and this Maestro program was something which even Captain Bjorn Haggard, who is the CEO of Anglo right now, who also recommended that Maestro program was the turning point of his life. And then I met another gentleman out here who also did this Maestro program. So what is this Maestro program of Maersk? And this is very important for every Maersk person watching this video. So what is this?
So Maestro program is something which came as a brainchild from Mr. McKinney Moller himself. And what was his thought was that you take high performing seafarers, you give them the topmost, the best business education available, and release them in the organization. And the idea is that over a period, on the topmost part of Maersk management, there are few people who are not only having the latest management degrees from these big business schools, but also have the core shipping knowledge. I think it was a fantastic idea. The program required, of course, it had a very difficult selection process, written exams, psychological evaluations, and so many different kind of tests. And then after that, interviews. Once you clear all those levels, then you have to leave your sailing job. You have to find a job, a shore job in the Maersk organization.
You have to find.
So they don't, it's not that it's given to you. They had it, but you have to find yourself. And once you have found that job, then you start this program. And there you do, as your day job, you do your whatever shore job you're doing. Like for example, I was a marine superintendent for LPG and LNG ships, so that was my day job. And during this period, for the next 2 years, they will send you to the 8 biggest business schools in the world.
8 biggest business schools. Can you name those?
I can, of course.
A few even.
So if you look at, they find which business school has what do they teach is their strongest suit. Like in Singapore, NUS teaches HR, which is considered very good. So HR from NUS. George Washington University in US, they teach project management very well. London Business School, leadership, negotiation skills. Copenhagen Business Schools, finance. So, they found these things, which all of these things are the best.
I'm getting goosebumps right now.
I can tell you, it was such a good experiment because, as sailors, we know a lot of things about how ships work. We know a very little about the business world. And to combine our sailing knowledge with this business knowledge from the best business schools, it was such an innovative program. And I can tell you the knowledge, the exposure, the network we gained from that program. I agree with Captain, that what he was saying.
Captain Bjorn Haggard.
Captain Bjorn, yeah. That it was one of the biggest turning points. It made us what we are sitting here. Fantastic program. So, and that is why Maersk is so good.
Is so good. So, if I would say that it's a fully paid, sponsored program by Maersk. Everything. So, you go to the 8 best business schools. You have left sailing. You are now, after doing that Maestro program, you are also giving exams or interviews for getting a job in Maersk in different divisions?
No. So what happens is when you leave sailing, you get a shore job.
You have to
Once
find
you've got the shore, you have to find a shore job.
Okay.
Once you get the shore job, then you are in the Maestro.
Okay.
So you are doing the shore job and Maestro in parallel.
So first the shore job. And how many rejections did you face before getting that shore job?
This is something I know. I've spoken. So a lot of times today, people come and say that we want to leave sailing and we want to come and do a shore job. Can you guide us? And I'm very happy to guide and mentor them. But I always say them that, they get disheartened by applying for 10, 15 jobs and they don't get a response because it's tough to have that first change. And then they say, oh, it's very difficult. I want to go back to sailing. I applied for 200. So I always say everyone, if you have not applied for 200 jobs yet, and it has to be relevant, not like 200 blind jobs. Yeah. Don't get disheartened. Don't think that, I am not worthy or something like that. I have this 200 jobs you applied. From 200, you will get an interview call. And then you will probably get 5 or 6.
And how many you got selected in out of those 200?
About 4 or 5 jobs.
And you selected one?
I selected one out of it.
And then you got into this Maestro program.
Yeah.
So, amongst all these 8 business schools, which one do you cherish the most? Or it's a tough call to make. So, but
I think, again, it's like if a person has 4 babies, you ask him which is your favorite one. It's very difficult. But I would say the London Business School. Is very good. Negotiation
and
skills
leadership.
They taught, and leadership.
And that is why we are having this Karele ka juice in Gandhi Park, because I want to take all that from London Business School to come to Gandhi
No,
Park.
Absolutely. I am very open to share. I mentor a lot of people
really
in Singapore also. And I am one of the, later on I went on to do an MBA in Copenhagen Business School. And I am one of the ambassadors of the program. I also mentor students there. So very happy to share whatever I know to everyone.
So most important, you topped the Maestro program.
Yes.
So first thing is, out of 2,000 candidates, you got selected into Maersk in the Danish fleet. Then you, in the whole such a big company of Maersk, they identified you as a potential leader. And amongst those leaders, you topped this Maestro program. Are you a genius?
I am not genius.
Then what makes you different?
I can only say...
You can be humble. Allowed to be humble. But still, give us something...
I will always say one thing is very simple is you need to have passion. Whatever you're doing, don't do a job just because it's a job. If you do it with passion, you will always excel.
So what are you passionate about? If I ask you today, just out of the topic we're going,
I will say 3 things. Firstly, I'm very passionate about leadership. So how leaders work, what works for leader. So as I say, I am not a leader yet. I am a student of leadership. I'm learning every day how to manage people. So that gets me passionate. Other part is, the world is changing around us. We are now, one of the biggest challenges we face is climate change. And so another passion of mine is how do we reduce our impact on this world? How do we reduce the impact of shipping activities? So decarbonization, and how can alternate fuels work? And so that is an area of passion. And third area, which is different to these 3, is I do a lot of volunteering for a bone marrow donor program. So I am a core ambassador.
You never told me this.
I'm a core ambassador of it. I've signed up as a donor, though I have not been up till now, not able to donate. But I hope one day I get match and I could help someone. So again, on all these 3 things is the passion. And don't do mundane, don't do boring. Find something which you're passionate about. And then remember that you have to do the hard work. This hard work comes with everything in the world, that you have to work hard. But once you're doing it, I don't believe I'm genius. I'm not. Absolutely not. And I don't believe that success needs a genius. But I believe that success needs continuous hard work and a huge amount of passion.
Guys out here, this is a learning lesson for all of you. If you're not enjoying your sailing, try to figure it out right now what you're really passionate about. It can be anything, guys. अगर वो cooking भी है, तो अगर वो देखो किसी ने डोसे का इतना बड़ा business बना दिया है, and there are so many amazing people out there. If you're not loving it, if you're not enjoying it, try to figure it out ASAP. Don't just be a person sitting वहाँ पे गाली दे रहे हैं merchant navy को लेकिन फिर भी sale कर रहे हैं. Just avoid that. I'm not a successful person, but I'm enjoying every single day of my journey because I'm doing something for myself, and I'm meeting such people and learning so much. But I'm passionate about it. Sir ki success journey teaches us to be passionate, and that is why he has achieved so much. So let's just continue the podcast. Jai Mata Di. So sir, you topped the Maestro program and you became AG Commercial Operations Maersk LNG.
AGM, yes.
AGM, sorry. Now, see, this is something you have to learn from me. I'm still not very good with AVP, VP, these.
No, ranks are ranks, but basically I joined Maestro program as a technical person, as a marine superintendent. And through the knowledge, the learnings of the Maestro program, I changed over to a more commercial role. So I was managing commercial operations for Maersk LNG vessels.
Hi guys, I hope watching this podcast is inspiring you to make your own journey very successful. For making a successful journey, you need to have a successful career, and for that, I would recommend go visit our website Merchant Navy Decoded, one-stop solution to all your queries, whether you are a Merchant Navy aspirant or whether you are sailing or whether you want to quit. Go explore the website yourself and find out those value-added courses which can make your life very comfortable on ship and make you an asset on board ship as well. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Mata Di. अभी आप जितने भी पॉडकास्ट मेरे देखेंगे यू विल सी दैट ईदर पीपल हैव बिकम एंटरप्रेन्योर्स और दे हैव गॉट इनटू द कमर्शियल साइड. So all those superintendents out there, marine superintendent, technical superintendents watching the video out here, you are on the different side where it's cost cutting. Sorry, I'm taking your this thing out here. But if you really want to make it big, it's the commercial, I think, where the revenue lies, where the big bucks lies. But only the best make it out there. This is what I learned from the podcast of Jagmeet Makkad sir. It was amazing learning experience for me. Let's get back to you, sir. So, sir, you did MBA. So, sir, even while doing your maestro program, or even when you got into shore job, what all you kept studying, like, because it never ends in your case.
That is true. Again, Vivekanand ji has said this. Swami Vivekanand ji said a concept of Ajivan Vidyarthi, that you learn all through your life, and I believe in that. Just not as just a mere slogan or a word, but I believe in it. So while I was sailing, I did this. There's a fantastic commercial shipping education you can get in India. It's called the postgraduate in shipping management from Narottam Murarji Institute of Shipping. It's a fantastic program. You can study, you can give exams and pass it, and you can choose subjects. So you can do it over a period of long time. So between your sailings, you can do it. I highly recommend that. So I did that. Then while, of course, Maestro, we were studying a lot. There was a very important program, and we learned a lot from Maestro, from all these big business schools. During when I was a marine superintendent, and while I was doing in Maestro, I had this need to learn more about the commercial shipping. So I started doing the ICS, Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers UK. So I gave their exams. I passed that exam. And then I went on to become one of the founder members of ICS in Copenhagen. So again, when you were saying, and I say every job in shipping, whether it's a marine superintendent or a technical superintendent, is extremely important, extremely respected. But if you want to make that change, you have to work hard for it. So I did the Maestro, the education. I also did the ICS education. So that was the part of filling the knowledge gap. But then also I was sitting next to our commercial manager of LNG shipping. And she was a lady, an elderly lady, and she was very open to share information. And then what I proposed to her is that when she would go out on vacation, can I fill in for her? So she trained me how to work, do the commercial operations, and I managed to do that work during that gap when she was on leave. And slowly I learned it. So when there was an opportunity and I applied for the job, I already had the knowledge through the courses, through ICS, through Maestro, and I also had practical experience of commercial shipping because I was filling in for that lady in Maersk LNG. So that is why that transition was possible. It is not very easy to make that transition. There are several roadblocks, but filling up the knowledge, filling up the experience, that makes it happen.
Guys, when sir is talking all about commercial, this is a free course on commercial shipping on Merchant Decoded website. You can see the photograph, the link is given below. Just enroll for that course and learn what is commercial shipping, chartering and shipbroking, which can help you further. Let's go ahead. So when I see you before that Jagmeet Makkad sir was sitting here, I could see that he also became a fleet manager. Along with that, he got into commercial operations, studied that, and then there was a time when he was heading both the technical part and the commercial part. Similarly, you. So learning never ends for you guys out, and I completely go with it. But sir, being a marine superintendent, along with that, getting to know about technical commercial operations, it is a very taxing job being a marine superintendent as well. Then getting into the commercial operations, and along with that, managing your family, it must have been one hell of a challenge.
I did give you that answer before, that hard work is needed. Hard work is needed in everything. So
very amazing.
That much work you have to put in, and there are challenges you have to balance. I was blessed with a partner who was very helpful, who was always pushing me.
Ma'am, salute to you.
So that is needed, but because you are putting a huge amount of your time into other things. But definitely, if you have that hard work and the passion, doors do open. They automatically open for you.
So why did you join Copenhagen Business School?
Okay, that is a different story, which was the next part. So I had done Maestro, and to be very true, coming from sailing background, Maestro was actually an eye opener. Because when you are doing your masters and you think that you almost know everything. And then you come to a business school and the first thing they show you, they give you a balance sheet. You absolutely have no idea what does a balance sheet mean. As a master, as a captain or the chief engineer, second engineer, you have never seen a balance sheet. You don't know how to read a balance sheet. You don't know how to take information out of a balance sheet. And to any normal business student, that is ABCD. That is like a definition of a keel for a sailor. So then you realize that, yeah, I learned so much. I learned so much in these business schools, but there is so much more to learn. And that always there, it was always there that I need to learn more. And this is something which I say that if you have to invest, one of the best investments you can do is invest in yourself. So I took that big jump and decided to invest in myself. And this was about a year or so later after Maestro was completed that I decided that I should do a proper MBA. And this MBA, which is called the Blue MBA, or the MBA in Shipping and Logistics from Copenhagen Business School, is something which I thought I can build up on all the what I've learned till now. This adds it up. And I think it was one of fantastic decisions I made. I remember that during this MBA, there were some interviews, job interviews I was giving it. And wherever they asked, and I explained to them that I'm doing this MBA, they asked me why, and I answered the same thing, that I'm investing in myself. Everyone was very impressed that yes, means if someone is putting that money on himself, he's betting on himself, then I can also bet on him.
ये hunger है sir. ये hunger है, paying from your own pocket, already having a stable job. And what was your age when you started doing this Copenhagen Business School MBA, sir?
36.
At the age of 36. मतलब सब कुछ मेरे लिए भी सीखने के लिए है, सपने मेरे भी हैं. आई विल जस्ट शेयर वन जोक विद यू. एक प्रणत नारायण सर है सर, ही इज़ माई कॉलेज सीनियर. सो ही टोल्ड मी, यार तू MBA तो अभी करेगा नहीं, तो यू बेटर स्टार्ट रीडिंग अ बुक कॉल्ड 10 Day in MBA. एंड मैंने बोला चल यार MBA तो नहीं हो रहा, मैं 10 Day MBA बुक आई स्टार्ट रीडिंग. सर आई स्टार्ट विद मार्केटिंग. दैट वाज, मैंने बोला मार्केटिंग इज माई कोर, आई विल गो थ्रू इट एंड आई विल अंडरस्टैंड एवरीथिंग ऑफ मार्केटिंग बिकॉज आई एम अ मार्केटिंग गाय. सर आई स्टार्टेड रीडिंग एंड आई स्टार्टेड, पहला पेज पर दूसरे तक आ जाता है, मुझे लगता था इट इज़ नॉट माई कप ऑफ टी बिकॉज देयर वर सो मेनी टर्म्स रिटन दैट आई कुड नॉट अंडरस्टैंड. सर दैट बुक इज स्टिल स्टेइंग देयर. तो गाइस समटाइम्स हंगर ड्राइव्स यू एंड देयर कैन बी डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ लर्निंग. लाइक अगर मैं अपने केस में बोलूँ सर, व्हेन आई टॉक टू यू आई लर्न अ लॉट एंड मैं बस कोशिश करता हूँ कुछ इनपुट मिल जाए बट आई एग्जीक्यूट इट फास्टर. बट आउट हियर देयर आर पीपल दोज हू आर, you are a voracious reader, you will read a lot. Maybe some people might not have that reading abilities, but इसका मतलब ये नहीं है you stop trying. Start meeting people, learn from videos, but learn. That should never stop.
Absolutely. As I said, Ajivan Vidya.
Ajivan Vidya. So guys, next question is for you, for those people, those who want to do MBA. So sir, there are two kinds of MBA that people can do. One is a person who is a senior chief engineer, captain, who is already maybe has got a sure job and he wants to do MBA which can enhance his career. And another MBA is completely outside shipping because that person wants to quit shipping and get into something else, right? So sir, please divulge when is the right time to go for any of these MBAs and what should be the purpose and why an MBA is needed for a shipping person.
So one of the first things I will advise that never do an MBA because someone else is doing it and he convinces you that you have to do it. That includes me. So because it's a very big decision. It's a very big money decision. More importantly, it's a very big time investment decision. So again, there are few people who join shipping and then they realize shipping is not for them. They are not able to fit into the sea life. It's very tough. For them, I would recommend, if you have the financial resources, then immediately shop shipping. Because, what we do, India is a very big, there are so much populous places, you do not get opportunities. So sometimes you do things which you are not meant for, but that was the only option available. But I'll still recommend that if this is not made for you, just stop, give a GMAT, find a good college and give it. No problem. Do that MBA. For people, there are certain other people who want to do GMAT because the last second officer or next chief officer who was there with you or the third engineer was preparing for it, and you get the suddenly, oh, I should also do it. Think about it. A, finance part of it and the investment part of it which you want to make, and where you are with regard to your family, with regard to that decision. Make a proper analysis of it and then only do it. Do not follow other people. Just do not blindly because someone else is doing it. We need to do. I have friends who, they have prepared for CAT for so many months. They did not get the colleges. They kept on wasting time. And then they came back and did sailing, and they are such a good masters that, I questioned that why were you thinking about it? And they said that, they were very impressed with some of the other people who got through and did the MBA. So do not follow. Every person's journey is their own. So follow your own heart, follow your own journey. If shipping is becoming very tough for you, and there are people who I have found they're so frustrated at sea, leave immediately. Go do GMAT, do the ship.
Now guys, out here, if you want to quit sailing, there are two amazing choices, courses that you got, free courses. One is Ship to Shore series for deck officers and Ship to Shore series for marine engineers out here. You'll get a lot of opportunities out here to know in core shipping, outside core shipping, and outside shipping itself, and enroll for this course. Link is in description box. Go ahead, कम से कम जानिए क्या क्या चीज़ें आप कर सकते हैं. Now sir, coming back to the point, why should a seafarer go for MBA?
So again, now that was the first question. First one was that people were in the middle of the career.
Right.
Say the people who are becoming chief officers, captains, or who are becoming second engineers, chief engineers. For them, a lot of time they think that we can do an MBA and shift to shore job, which is possible. I'm not questioning that. I would actually recommend them to shift to shore job and then do the MBA. And use MBA to reach higher echelons of management.
Agreed, sir.
Why MBA? You don't want to do MBA, so I'm now trying to convince you.
Sir, मैं कोशिश
So let me convince you. If I convince you, probably I can convince more people. Three things which are very important. Firstly, there is a knowledge gap. Whatever you study, books, videos, you have to understand there is a knowledge gap. From a CEO of a company to a captain, they are leaders, different leaders. Their knowledge is different. If you want to make the change from there to this side, you have to fill in the gap. And I can very candidly say the opposite. If a CEO of a company, whichever company wants to become a captain, imagine the knowledge gap he has. Can he become a captain or a chief engineer? He cannot.
No.
So why are you thinking that you can become that without filling that knowledge gap? So the first is, there is a knowledge gap. There are things in finance you need to learn. There are things in marketing you need to learn. There are things in HR you need to learn. So, and many other things. So there is a knowledge gap which you need to fill in. Second is, there is some other tools gap. MBA, what does an MBA give you? Apart from that knowledge, it gives you certain very good tools. And those tools you can just take. It's like they teach you how to use a spanner. In very colloquially, I'm speaking. So they give you the spanner also. A lot of times these tools are not available to us right now because we have not been in that industry.
One specific example of a tool.
A risk management, a financial risk management tool. If one factor of your financial calculation changes, how it impacts other factors. We never study that. Maximum tool which we know is Excel. But there are ready-made tools available. They give you those tools, then tell you how to use it. Other is like how to, suddenly if you become in charge of 20 people, how do you manage those 20 people? How do you lead them? Of course, you have your own inherent leadership style. But how to structurally do that? MBA gives you the tool. So first, you get fill the knowledge gap. Second, you get the tools. And third, you get the networking. Right now, most of your friends are sailors. Most of your friends are chief engineers. Maybe some superintendents. Maybe some are higher on the... But they're all one kind of people. Seriously, they are all one kind of people. You don't know bankers. You don't know financiers. You don't know brokers. You don't know various kind of technocrats. When you go into a MBA, the other thing which you get is a network. And as we do, as our alumni network was there, equally strong is your MBA network, which helps you, opens doors for you, makes it easier for you to find solutions for problems. So why do you should do MBA? Fill the knowledge gap, get the tools which you don't have, And third, networking.
Great points written out there. Guys, once again, I want to say that why is very, very important. Like, if this is my suggestion from my end, say, if you are working as a technical superintendent, say, you feel if you do an MBA, you'll get a high rise, fine. Say, you are not happy sailing and you want to try something else, and you feel your MBA is made for me, you have talked to a lot of people, watched Saunak sir's video, and connected with him on LinkedIn as well. The link is given below. Great. सर ऐसा नहीं बहुत सारे रिक्वेस्ट नहीं आएंगे बट
नहीं so again this industry has given me everything, so I'm very happy to mentor people, very happy to help people, and a lot of those requests do come in and I try to help as much as possible.
Today as an entrepreneur, today even I sometimes feel यार इतना कुछ सीखने के लिए है, but again sir, I'll be very honest, dead honest sir, I run away from books at times, but a very appalling way to say, embarrassing way to say, like I've got a lot of books in my shelf kept, but in the last year I've read just 3 books, sir. Managed to somehow complete 3 books out of embarrassment. So maybe this year I'll try to read more, and yes, maybe this year I'll try to keep that complete that 10-day MBA book as well. अगर MBA नहीं कर रहा हूँ तो ये तो करूँ. और yes, someday if God forbid, I would love to do maybe a small course in MBA from one of the top business schools, probably for networking.
Again, the question is the same answer what we have. So why MBA? So you need to not join an university to do an MBA as far as you fill those 3 gaps. So fill the knowledge, if not by books, by talking to people who know things. Fill the tools, then look into those tools, find those tools. Otherwise, hire people who know those tools. And thirdly, networking. So you are doing that networking. Again, you have to expand that networking to do that. The issue is that when we were sailing and when I was also sailing, it was very difficult to expand that network. Now ashore, like you are ashore, without doing MBA also you can expand that network. As far as you're aware of these 3 things and you're working towards it.
Great. Sir, one question that again comes to mind is, does this diploma in MBA work like 6 months ka kara, you're not, what kind of MBA is, like I believe in full-time MBA. If you're committing yourself, then commit full-time. But that can happen only if you quit sailing. But for people who are like, you were a marine superintendent, you did it for Copenhagen school, does this kind of MBA work?
Executive MBAs are good. Again, as I said, what do you need that MBA to do for you? If you are looking at कि MBA करने के बाद let's have a campus interview, and through the campus interview I get a job and then I pursue it, then go for a full-time proper MBA. There is no other solution. But if you think that no, I am already doing a shore job, I am already there and I want to augment my knowledge, I want to fill these 3 gaps, then an executive MBA is a good. A, you can still do it in parallel to studies. B is that whatever you're learning, you can implement immediately in a practical world. And again, see the jump after that MBA, you can take a really big jump in when you're moving up
into management.
Yeah. What I would recommend that there may be possibilities, I'm not questioning all, but doing an MBA from correspondence has very limited value. Do it from a proper, like I did it from Copenhagen Business School, quite a good college. There are many others. I'm not saying this is the only one. This is one of the good ones. So do your research. Do it from one of the good ones.
Okay. Then here comes my next question.
Because I'll add it to you. Why? The 3 things.
That is the question that I have to ask you. Sir, why is it important to do MBA from top business schools, even though they do not guarantee you 100% placement?
Look,
वहाँ तो job guarantee है नहीं.
No, job guarantee nobody can give you. So again, you can only find a job for yourself. Nobody else can find a job for yourself.
हाँ सर, यहाँ पर merchant navy हम देते हैं ना DNA sponsorship.
Fair enough. But again, as I said, those 3 things. Knowledge, again, the B schools have a very structured program, but again, different.
Expensive programs.
Expensive programs. So knowledge you can get. Again, tools also you can get. Network is where, again, if you look at Copenhagen Business School, certain level of network. If you go to London Business School, you go to Harvard, different level of network. So a lot of times what you are paying is the money is also not only to gain those skills and those tools, but also to gain an access to that network. Now I cannot decide for you what level of network you will be succeeding in. And then certain level, well, a lot of big people who have really done well in this world have not done an MBA. So it's one of the ways, it's not the only way of doing it.
Agreed. So let's come to the technical versus commercial thing. I asked this question to Jagmeet Makkar sir and he very diplomatically answered. Fine sir. And I respect him. So the thing is, कि you were in the technical side, a marine superintendent, I would say more sort of a technical side, a marine superintendent, and then you got into commercials. So commercials pay much higher than the technical side of the shipping. Why so?
Okay, so firstly, we have to be very clear, both are important.
That is what he said.
I am not questioning that one is more important than the other. The way shipping is structured, the technical come as a cost side. So the best technical guy is a guy who will cost you less to run the ships. You have to understand that. Cost it reliably, efficiently, absolutely, but cost it less. What about the best commercial guy? Is a guy who will bring the maximum revenue.
Money.
So you can see that the factors are one's job is as good as it is to reduce. Of course, there are various things that he can bring a technical innovation which is expensive, but will again be more help you in earning more revenue. But overall, the general idea is that this is the cost part of the business. The revenue, the commercial part is the revenue or the profit side of the business. So they tend to have more leeways. Here, your budget is limited. Your budget is a subset of the total budget. There, you are the entire, gamut. So that is why, especially as you go higher and higher in commercial, the rewards are higher. Because if you are making more money for the owner or the commercial entity or the commodity trader, he is ready to share more rewards with you. So there is a limit to how efficient or how cost effective you can make it technically. There is no limit to how you can make more money.
So when it comes to money, I generally get inclined towards asking how much, but I won't get into that details. I really, because
Fair enough.
But if I ask, say somebody is into the commercial operation side, and similarly at same experience in a marine superintendent side, that guy has to be really good. Then how much can be the difference?
No, so I'll explain to you in a very different manner. You have to understand that technical jobs are specialist jobs. You need an expert to do that job. Commercial jobs are generalist jobs. You do not need expertise to do that. So at an entry level, a marine superintendent gets much higher, I will say 3 times more salary than an entry level in the operations. You have to be very careful that. The issue is as they grow and as they take more senior roles in operations and in chartering, that time, because they are expert, they enter at a very high level, but progressively their salaries remain quite in that level. On the chartering side, on the commercial side, they enter at a much lower level. And that is one of the biggest challenges for a captain, chief officer, chief second engineer to actually take a commercial role. Because they have to start at a lower level. Everyone has to start at a lower level. But at that time, those salaries are like 1/3 of what you are getting right now. To have a mindset to sacrifice that much of salary, it's very difficult. So naturally, you try to enter somewhere at the middle level, where the salaries are at par. But as you grow more senior, then the salaries, because like a chartering manager or a charterer or a trader, he is making so much more money for the company, and then his rewards starts becoming progressively very higher.
But I want to add just one thing out here. Like even on ship, say you become an engine cadet, then you'll become a chief and you'll have this much salary. Safety factor is there because everybody becomes that. General perception.
Okay, fair enough.
Similarly, in technical side, maybe okay, you'll become a technical superintendent, then you'll become a senior technical, you'll become a fleet manager someday, if not in the same company, some other company. So progressively on the safety side. On the other end, the entry barrier is higher because you have to become a chief or somewhere down, then you can go out there. On the commercial side, the competition is much more higher because from the entry level, you can get people from different aspects as well.
Absolutely.
Second thing is you start at a very much lower salary. And most important, the competition is much more higher out here. So only the good ones reach the level that they reach.
No, that is very true. Again, as I said,
unlike on the technical aspect, because
I will defer to that.
Okay.
Even in technical also, the good ones, they only proceed. You have to understand, average ones reach average heights. The good ones, so all of the guys who you're seeing heading the technical management, the people you are meeting, who are heading the technical part of their companies or the CTOs they are brilliant people. All those technical managers, all those VP technicals, all those people, they are better than average. So you have to have the knowledge. So there is no standard hierarchical that you will pass an exam and you will become a fleet manager. No, the best of the technical superintendents tend to become the fleet manager.
Nahi,
So there is still there. Maybe competition is less because of the number of the people.
Yes, I meant
but
that,
it is
not
still
to offend
there.
anyone out there, but competition is slightly lesser, I would say.
Yeah. So yeah, and on the commercial side, the issue is that the rewards are higher, but you have to also understand the consequences of your actions are much bigger.
Okay, sir, now let's come to the other part. So, Maestro program done, you started, became a marine superintendent, then you started heading the LPG division, then the LNG operations division, and then you shifted to Norgas as, if I'm not mistaken, vice president business development. Finally, I've made it right. So, why did you shift from Maersk to Norgas?
Again, this was not a very easy decision. Musk LNG at that time was going through a transition, and we were looking into various different opportunities. I had an opportunity to change over to Musk drilling that time, and then suddenly connected to Musk only, this opportunity came. One of the bosses in Norgas was an ex-Musk guy, and he headhunted me for this position. So I didn't apply for the Norgas position. Suddenly a phone call came and said that, hey, this is a position and would you like to apply for it? And I said, well, I have no idea. Then they said that somebody in Musk has known you and has recommended you for the position. So would you like to go in for the whole exam? And so I said, okay, fair enough. When I was taking the decision, of course, one good part was it's a VP position. So it's a senior management position. Other factor was that being an Asian, being an Indian, I'd never worked in Asia. So I sailed in the Sailland, which was an Italian company that time, then sailed on Maersk, Danish company, then came to Copenhagen, working in Copenhagen. I had never worked in Asia. And Asia, as you know, this is the place of development, this is the place for growth. So a good position, a very decent package, and an opportunity to do work in Asia. All they were there. So that were one of the prime focus. Again, it was not a decision which was taken lightly. I had a discussion with my Musk mentors also and after analyzing everything, I took that decision. Fantastic decision. Singapore is a great place to be.
Okay, guys, what is the learning lesson out here? If you're hard working, if you're working hard passionately, there are people watching you, and you never know when an opportunity from where strikes.
Absolutely.
And tells you, hey, I had seen this guy. He was working hard out here. I need this guy. And suddenly a call can come to you, like it came to Captain Saunak. I said, we need you for Vice President Business Development in Norgas. And you cannot say no to such an offer.
Yeah, it was quite a good offer.
So, sir, you achieved so much at Norgas, and then you switched over again to fuel LNG. Why this?
I think Norgas, 7 years in Norgas. So not
a
long time in Norgas.
It was a good long time, fine.
And learned a lot, went on to become one of their board of directors. So quite very good experience.
Wow.
And global portfolio. During that time, I was developing LNG bunkering, LNG as fuel, was one of the ideas I was developing for Norgas, for their ships. In fact, that was one of my ISP, or the integrated strategy project of my MBA, was on LNG bunkering. So I was very interested in how LNG as a fuel can provide a solution from that dirty fuel oil which we are using as fuel these days. So suddenly one day, as I got an opportunity that the people I was working on the LNG bunkering in Singapore, they came up and said, hey, Shell and Keppel has made a new company called Fuel LNG and they want someone to head it. Would you be interested?
Wow.
So, every leader, every person himself want to be an entrepreneur like you. Pranit, a very successful entrepreneur.
Very small.
So I thought, oh, fantastic. I am getting the opportunity to be an entrepreneur. However, not putting my capital at risk. So it was an amazing opportunity. And again, the most important part was it was in an area of my passion. I have been trying to develop this LNG bunkering. We did some operations for Norgas also for that. And suddenly there was this opportunity to head this company, which was actually a partnership of mammoths. Shell is one of the biggest companies in the world, oil and gas companies, and Keppel, which is one of the big multinationals from Singapore, and they are jointly making this company. And I am getting an opportunity to head it. It was a fantastic opportunity, and in an area of my passion. And it was there was nothing. I had to build the company from scratch. There was no office. There were 2 employees who were seconded from Keppel. They were working in a makeshift room. There were no procedures, no systems, no strategy to do the business development. There was nothing.
Started from this.
It was starting from scratch, and it was such an interesting opportunity. I said, okay, you have to challenge yourself, because I was very comfortable in Orgas.
Comfortable is the word.
So, and successful, yes. And the salaries were fantastic in Orgas. Everything was quite good, but this was something you challenge yourself. Can I do this? Can I make a company from scratch and build it up? And we did it. And as you were saying now, we recently completed the 300th LNG STS operations. We have done more than 1,000 trucking operations. So from that, a company which doesn't exist, to now what we have done, is a sense of accomplishment.
This is, sir, is this your biggest achievement till date? You would say this or something else? Just asking. Starting a company from scratch to doing the 300th record LNG bunkering.
I would say it's one of my biggest achievements.
Awesome, awesome. So guys, what is the learning lesson through this journey so this point out here? Come out of your comfort zone. Look out for opportunities if you really want to grow. Being vice president business development, earning a very handsome salary in a very well-renowned company, to starting a company from scratch, yes, with big leaders out there, is not an easy task. But taking up that challenge and ensuring that it works. Now, sir, out here, what made it work? Like, you took it with conviction that this is something that I want to do, but you made it a successful thing as well. What made it happen?
So I'll start by giving credit where it's due. Shell and Keppel were very big companies. So, they are supporting you. Then there's the chances of success automatically is there. After that, I would say passion. As I said, this was an area I was very passionate about. So I drove in and gave a lot of hard work. And the team, the Fuel LNG team was very good. They supported me. They worked with me. They were very new. They did not know this. I was the only guy who knew this. But they were very ready to learn. And together, we have managed that core team which I started with is still there in Fuel LNG. Wow. So I think these are the three things.
How many people are there right now working in Fuel LNG?
No, Fuel LNG has about 30 people, because we have in Fuel LNG, then we have people in Shell, people in, now not Keppel, now it is in Citrim. They also work, and then we have everyone. But that core which we had from the starting, managed to keep that core, and yes.
Great. So you love talking about leadership, and that is where our talks always revolve around. Who is an inspirational leader to you and why?
Oh, that is a very difficult question. I think there are many leaders. If I have to pinpoint one, I would talk about Ratan Tata. Because, again, I've learned from various leaders a lot of different. He is one person who has taught us leadership with values, leadership with empathy. And that, I think, means you can, if you do not have empathy, you do not have values, you can succeed very highly for a very short term. But to be sustainable as a leader over a very long period, I think those virtues are very important. So if you have to just pinpoint one leader, I would say that is the person. Although there are so many other leaders I've learned a lot from.
One of your favorite, now this can be because this will be on LinkedIn as well, but still, let's see. One of your favorite maritime leaders and why?
Maritime leaders, I have no difficulty in finding him. Is Mr. McKinney-Moller. I have met him a number of times when I was in Copenhagen in the office. And again, if you look at what I said about Mr. Ratan Tata, same is for Mr. McKinney-Moller. He always pushed people to be humble. He always pushed people to be diligent. And he always used to push that Musk should go to their core values. When there were so many of these important core values, he would always say that because we have become so big, because we have become so, so powerful in this industry, we should not forget that humbleness. The core values of Musk we should always keep. And one of the biggest example I remember is that I was coming back from a meeting at around 10, 11 in the morning, I think around 11. And Mr. McKinney-Moller was leaving the Aspirant office where the headquarters is. And I was, of course, awed to see him, and he's my hero. And I just said, good morning, sir. And he looked at me. And the first thing that he asked me, why are you coming at 11 o'clock in the office? A person who is heading, and that is his approach on discipline. And I explained that I came from a meeting and that all. I said, okay. Then he started asking me who I was and what I was doing for the company and that all. He was very focused on his job. His idea was that all of us, we should not be like, not forget the core value of timeliness, core value of discipline, financial discipline. He would be, he had an iron fist and he just managed it so well. And he was one of the person who had the vision. He had the vision of, getting those oil and gas fields in Denmark. He had the vision of containerization. He had the vision of acquiring those companies to make Musk what it is. It's an inspiration to learn from. And most importantly, his core value of honesty, not cheating, not bribing or something. To push everything to be done with those core values.
I guess this is why Musk is leading in the social media things as well. They have kept it so transparent and open, they are not afraid of any such thing. So, in social media, there are so many people having that logos and still making videos because they, and I know a few companies, they restrict that social media policy on their ships because if you have got something to hide, then only you would do that. Otherwise, else why? Sorry, sir, something out of the line. But dil mein tha mere, I said that.
Musk has so many good things because, as I said, that was the company which made me what I am. And Mr. McKinney-Moeller had a big role in it.
Guys, out here, when sir is revealing so many good points, I have some embarrassment to share with you as well. Like, there is one thing that I am learning from sir, I would say this way. Ki, like, sir told me, subah 7:15 baje, 7:15 we'll meet at Gandhi Park. And sir is there, says 7:05, 7:10, and I reach at 7:18, 7:20 sometimes. Today, sir told me 11:30 I'll be here. He was here at 11:30 sharp. So I think it comes from the culture that you are there. And abhi bhi Patel Nagar ka, Dehradun ka system, Dehradun ka basa hua hai. 5 minutes to question which is bad. So this is embarrassment that I'm sharing with you. I do not know when I'll improve, but someday maybe. Not happy.
No,
sir,
timeliness is very important.
Sir, मुझे पता था that you'll come at 11:30, so I just called you. मैंने बोला आप 5, and I reached 5 minutes before you because I have seen in the last 2 to 3 visits that I've got कि you are very particular about your time to start your things, and I still do not value. 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes, फिर वो आधा घंटा हो जाता है. Not good. Not happy because you said this point. मुझे अच्छा नहीं लग रहा अभी. I'm not happy. Anyway, sir. So now it's the last part of the podcast. I hope you're liking it, guys. And that is the rapid fire. Sir, any question that you have to answer, you have to try to answer within 1 minute. ठीक है sir, start करें. So my first question to you is, what is future of LNG shipping?
Today, more than 1,200 LNG fueled ships are in water. Record LNG vessels are on order. So when you look forward with the amount of LNG being produced and the amount of LNG being used, I think for the next 10-20 years, it's a very bright future.
Next question, sir. Why is the decline? Now, sir, subjective, but I feel that there is a decline in steam LNG ships happening. Steam ships. Why?
So steam LNG vessels came at a time when the only way of using LNG as fuel was in boilers. These ships had they needed a lot of consumption, and the insulation at that time was not that good. So there was a lot of LNG was being produced and consumed in the boilers. Now with the new environmental regulations coming in, with new CO2 emissions regulation coming in, these guzzlers, fuel guzzlers, are no more neither financially attractive to run, nor because of the environment point of view can run them. So, the biggest reason is economics. LNG is so expensive that you cannot have almost 2 times fuel being burned for same distance covered.
Basically, they are not that efficient. So, yes. They are not being ordered anymore.
They have been stopped ordering. Now, most of them are slowly getting out.
Yes. Okay. Sir, what is the biggest challenge of working with LNG ships?
The biggest challenge for working with LNG ship is that you have to realize that reliability.
You have to explain.
Yeah. So, LNG vessel, a big, large LNG vessel, is a part of a value chain of LNG being produced at a gas field and LNG being used at a power plant or a power station. And he's connecting that value chain. Moment you are not able to do your job, it's very difficult to stop a gas field from producing gas. Similarly, you would not like that LNG vessel did not come, so there's going to be a blackout for 5 days or 10 days at your hometown. So you are connecting this very important value chain, and since you are connecting it, you need to be reliable. So the only factor is that you cannot fail to produce your service. So most LNG vessels has level A, level B, level 2, a lot of backups to ensure that the value chain is continued.
What a great way to say, because sir bulk carrier में क्या है, चीनी थोड़ी लेट पहुंच गई चलेगा, एक दिन लेट पहुंच गया, आधा दिन लेट पहुंच गया, but this won't work. Fine. Sir, one thing that you love about LNG ships.
A lot of things actually. बहुत मुश्किल है एक बोलना, but at least what I will say is that the degree of automation makes them very easy to run. Once you understand them, they are very uncomplicated ships to run compared to others.
A common misconception about LNG shipping.
That they are very difficult and very complicated and brilliant people run them. I have sailed on LPG ships and on chemical carriers also. I think they are very difficult.
So you might offend a lot of LNG carrier guys saying.
Well, your secret is out. LNG is not that difficult. You are not doing tank cleaning. You are not doing anything. Same cargo A to B. Once you understand it, and it takes a while to understand, it's complicated. But once you have understood it well, it is a relatively easy life.
Great. One innovation you'd like to see in LNG ships.
One of the biggest challenges right now is to meet the new climate regulations, the new emissions requirement. And I think sooner or later, there has to be a measurement of the methane slips coming from these engines. And then solutions to find ideas or new technologies. We are looking into few technologies like, there are these plasma ions which are released into the exhaust of an engine and they capture the methane slip. So measurement of methane slip and then making it zero on an LNG vessel, I think that's something which we need to look into.
Okay. Sir, last question today, and this is not a rapid fire thing. LNG is the future. There was a time, one of the biggest shipping giants today, recently, they were into, I would call them the thought leaders of the industry, and they initially were into, we will try to take up ethane, and they ordered a ethane carrier jet. And now they've suddenly shifted to the LNG carrier section, that they have ordered a lot of LNG carriers right now. So where do you see, do you think that there is going to be a further boom in LNG shipping? Because the so-called thought leader of the shipping industry is again getting back to the LNG thing from ethane.
There are various things. Ethane shipping is going to be there. Ethane is a very, you need to remove the ethane to get to oil. So a lot of free ethane was available and that actually pushed that. And it is still there. So I'm not saying that ethane shipping is going to die or something. It has its own space in the shipping. It will continue to. LNG on the other hand has a lot of benefits. When you look at LNG, today using LNG you save up to 23% of CO2 emissions. Particulate emissions you totally remove. NOx emissions you save up to 75%. SOx emission you save up to 100%. So using LNG as fuel today is very useful for shipping. Then you look into solutions like bio LNG and synthetic LNG, which are basically net zero fuels. So the future of LNG as fuel is very bright, A, because you have immediate savings, and B, you have solutions already there which you can take it, the same ship can run up to 2050, which is a massive comfort for a ship owner. So if you ask me, recently I was explaining to you, Maersk decided to change over and they said that we'll also have few ships of LNG. And after that, there has been a record ordering of LNG fueled ships.
Throughout the world.
Through everyone. Hapag-Lloyd is ordering, CMA is ordering. All the big ship owners are ordering. Because Maersk at a lot of times has been a thought leader. So they were already ordering. When CMA probably has already the biggest fleet of LNG fuel ships. Hapag-Lloyd has huge, MSC has huge. But with Maersk coming into it, all the other ship owners are also in a huge manner ordering. So because of that, I think there is a very strong possibility of growth in LNG, main LNG shipping as well as LNG fuel vessel shipping. And I would always say that a lot of times when we were sailing, we always used to say that let's go on LNG ship. The best paying salary is on an LNG ship. I think those people who are on bulk carriers, containers, other tankers, they can also look into going into LNG fueled ships. Because they will get that knowledge. They will get that knowledge which can help them to jump. Or getting that knowledge will help them to sail on these ships. And more of these ships are coming now. So that will be a big boost to your carriers if you are planning to sail.
Now guys, this was a podcast filled with knowledge. With every podcast I am learning and I am trying to share with you the thoughts in form of notes down below so that you can learn. Do share in the comment section what you learned and where you felt that this podcast could have been better with the knowledge that Captain Saunak Rai sir have. Hierarchy leadership again, sir. So
Saunak, say
चलो आज एक टाइम के लिए Saunak has. So this is the what I would say is hands-on leadership, open leadership. So guys, please do share your feedback so that we can make this podcast better and better and better with your feedbacks. And last but not the least, if you like, if it's a learning, share it with your friends, with your seafarers, so that you have a bigger, broader opinion and you can make a very good career out of shipping. With this, thank you, sir. Thank you once again
you,
for
Praneeth.
being
You're
at this
doing
lovely
great.
podcast. I will try to do as much justice as possible to this podcast with the reputation that you hold. And last but not the least, guys, if you really want to connect with sir, first of all, come on LinkedIn, make your profile. And yes, Saunak Rai sir is on LinkedIn. You can connect with him. The link is given in the description box as well. Connect. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai Mata Di.
Thank you.